Well, good morning, everyone. It's 8 o'clock. We got some people over in the exhibit hall, but they'll be filtering in, and if not, we'll send somebody out there with the weapons of understanding that they can come and know that they've been invited. I want to thank the audience here for attending this conference. This is our 25th. Must mean something that we've grown, and maybe not so much size this year, but we've grown all the time. But the quality of the exhibits and the quality of the equipment that's out there that our exhibitors have brought to this place is just outstanding. It looks all store-bought. You can see some of the first things that Howard Newton, when he worked there at IGSHPA, did. It was pretty good, but it wasn't this good. And I think he's gotten better over time. So we'd like to thank all the sponsors who are sponsoring, especially Bose, and for their contributions over the years. For 25 years, they've been part of our organization, always been a very good, strong, and reliable source of quality and instilling in us a job of doing it right, okay? Now, the IGSHPA staff, you'll see them running around. Some of them have blue shirts on. If they're here, would you just stand up for a moment? I'm not going to introduce you. I don't want to embarrass you. So anybody that has an IGSHPA belongs to IGSHPA staff or been paid by IGSHPA or just anything, will go ahead and stand up. Now, okay. I'd like to recognize Lisa Moline. What I would say, Melise, would you stand up, Lisa, please, just for a moment? Raise your hand so they know who you are. We have decided that she is the ASHRAE liaison today. Was visiting with us yesterday and trying to coordinate the activities of the industry, which include IGSHPA, the National Groundwater Association, ASHRAE, and GEO. For GEO, we have John Kelly. John's back there with Lisa. He's also heads up the DOE research contract on certification standards for installation personnel. If you have any questions about that, we'll have a seminar right after this, I guess, right after this meeting here, about what those standards are and how we're going to weave those into our existing training. This is sponsored by DOE, and I think John has around $1 million or so. He won't tell you for sure because he's always trying to save a little bit back. Xiaobing Liu from ORNL. Xiaobing, are you here? I don't see Xiaobing yet, but he is also on the contract and has done some contract work. Lisa Malin had done contract work and has done a real yeoman's job of putting this stuff together. Kevin McCrae, I think he was here yesterday. He's probably, yep, there he is, back there with the team. Something happens in that area, we've lost the whole contract, John. Okay. Okay, the Advisory Council Chairman, that's Jack Henrig. Jack's over here. I asked him to keep seated because when he stands up, it makes me look even shorter. Okay. We have, in our Advisory Council, we have a number of standing committees. Alan Scobie, who's head of the Standards Committee, along with Lisa Malin. She came here with the idea that maybe she might not get another additional assignment to do, but she does such good work, well, they've tapped her. The training chair is Howard Newton, and Howard is sitting right back here. He's got that Bose shirt on. And marketing, Jack Deanna. Membership, Chris Smith, another Bose person, shows you how they're ingrained. And research, Xiaobing Liu. Like I said, I don't see Xiaobing at this time, but I know he's here. Okay, in 2011 and 2012, I guess the highlights that we've done is that we finished moving into this new facility over here. You can imagine what it's like when we first started being in a Quonset building with a heat pump that was put together with air source equipment, and we just modified the thing to put water source on it. We had a tank of water that was circulating around it with collecting the water in a tank right in the middle of the building. We just took a submergible pump, nailed it on a 2x4, stuck it in the water, started it up, and that thing ran for a whole summer. People from Popular Mechanics came there and said, oh my. Well, they didn't take any pictures that year, but 2 or 3 years later they came back. We knew they were coming this time, all polished and lacquered copper fittings. So they did take pictures that time, and we got that in the magazine. So our new headquarters are furnished. That stuff on the top those are not rooftop units, okay? Those are buildings across the street. So we're going to airbrush that out of there. I'd only realized that yesterday, that this is an embarrassment. This is a GO building, okay? Heated and cooled from energy transferred to and from the earth. And I don't have to tell that to any of you, but we're quite proud of that building because they did that without my knowledge. And that's what has happened over the 25 years. We used to install a system. Everybody was part of the industry would show up at that place just to see it happen. Now somebody says we installed one. Everybody says, well, that's good. Who got the contract? So we really feel good about that. So we have our new headquarters. We spent a lot of time on our training courses, looking at how we're going to integrate the new ideas that are coming from the installation standards that John Kelly's group is putting together and Lisa has contributed to. We're working very closely with the National Groundwater Association. I feel very strongly we ought to know what we do best and stick to that. You know, Bob Strawn from Chevron, when he brought us GS4, said stick to your knitting. Well, we had to get rid of the GS4 because we found out that some of us were not very good plumbers. And when that stuff would leak out, drip through the ceiling tile, turn it green, you just knew I should have stayed in the classroom. Okay. So we're working on the training. Our training there on campus, Gerald McLean got a hold of that, and Gerald is always beating the drum. When I walk in every morning at 8 o'clock, he's already there. New things are scheduled on it. We have an increase in training. We went from a little training up to enough training to pay the rent on the building, and that's what was our desired goal, because we promised the administration, if you'll let us in this building out here, here's what we'll do. We have half of the building. We have the back half. This is an innovation center. The front quarter over here will be unmanned aircraft fabrication and research. So this is a research park, and so we're out there with them, and they're a part of the university. This is part of the university, the Career Tech, and City of Stillwater, and OSU. Of course, OSU is the biggest of all the groups as far as how much money we have into the thing, and you have to really be careful that you don't act like you own the building, because you don't. You have 4 different boards watching you. Each one of those entities has a board, so each one of them has their own, a story to tell and wants to brag on it. So I think we do pretty good at that. Our CGD, our Certified Geo-Exchange Designer, which I think, I hate to admit, is one of Jack Deanna's ideas. I fought it until he finally overran me. By the way, this is Jack Deanna. If you don't know him, this is Jack. I've got to, he is standing up right now, but he's a good friend, and he's one of the strongest proponents that I see in this industry. I honestly believe that I heard stories last night at dinner that I hadn't heard before, and he tells them with such convincing authority that I almost believe some of them. But on the CGD, which he started, that program has really blossomed. Now we have additional instructors, additional content, and what we're trying to do is get that up so the certification of that course will meet the standards like what is expected from a group like this. Okay. If we don't do it well, somebody else will do it for us, and that's the thing that we have to remember. We've really concentrated on that one, because that one, if you look at the body of knowledge which people are going to be tested over, it looks like about 400 engineering textbooks all condensed into about 12 pages. It would help if you had an engineering degree, if this is what we're going to require in our certification. But we don't want to say that, because there are a lot of people that don't have engineering degrees that probably know everything that's on that sheet of paper. So we've got to be able to spread the wealth and the opportunity. We've hired additional training staff so that we can now take a look at some of the technologies that beforehand that we go out and hire. In our training, we always look for the best people. They may or may not be on the campus. So we'll go out and we'll hire a trainer that has expertise in a certain area, bring them in, and have them teach for us, because what we're doing is that we're not in competition with our trainers. We are trying to develop training programs model training programs that could be then distributed throughout the world. Okay, so we're setting up new regional training sites so that you can go to Pennsylvania or you can go to California, you can go to someplace like that. You will get a replication of what we see right here. It may not look like that. No one would want to build in that plane, but we'll be able to leverage that out there and be able to take that content out there in a timely manner. Now, somebody's got to make sure you shut me up so I don't run over my time. We have a research program there at Oklahoma State University that we're looking at a number of things. We've concentrated on ground heat exchanger configurations. We work very closely with Ditch Witch, with drilling manufacturers at new kinds of heat exchangers. We're looking at, the old concentric heat exchanger, U-tubes, spirals, plates, you name it. Slinkies. If it's just a whole bunch of plastic pipe, our design rules or design guides say get a whole bunch of plastic pipe, and most of it should be buried underground. So that's what we're looking at, is trying to figure out how to get that first cost down. I don't know of anybody that wouldn't like to have everything they buy at a lower cost. But sometimes you got to say, we're going to have a quality standard. And without a quality standard, well, then we can never try to figure out how to zero in on this thing. So now we're also looking at grout and grout pumping. We had we have a contract and funded a contract which is called the OG&E Collaborative down in Oklahoma City, where they have 250 homes for Habitat for Humanity. This was sponsored by the electric utility company, the gas utility, and a number of other people. I can't remember all the sponsors. This is an outstanding program, a real strong executive director of the Central Oklahoma Habitat for Humanity. So went down there and they said, okay, we got to try to figure out if we can cut the costs. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, we'll just invite people from all around the world. We had people from Austria, we had people from the Netherlands or Holland. We had some from Perry, Oklahoma, some from Fairview, Oklahoma. Anybody that had a rig that had an interest in making a contribution. We learned so much more than what we thought we were going to learn. It's surprising. Some of it was good. Some of it we thought we're going to have to get better at this. We found out that some grouts are not easy to pump. It's like pumping cold syrup, or like cold syrup in cold weather, or the tube gets away and you spray the house with grout. Some people do not understand that that's just what happens in business. And depends, a guy like old Jack, who's always worried about his shoes, would not like to be around those job sites because sometimes they can get messy. Some people don't understand, If you go to a nice fancy restaurant, never go into the kitchen because you just don't want to see what's going on. And Jack is one of those people who's worried about his shoes. Okay, directional drilling. That's an important one. We're seeing more and more people coming in with new kind of heat exchangers and grouts. We're looking at a grout study. Dr. Beyer, who's sitting back here, he's the guy with the bone, got the shiny dome there and the expertise shirt. I've got a little bit more hair than he does, but not much. He has been working on measuring the thermal performance of those heat exchangers with and without grout. Now, we had last summer, I don't know how many days that we had. We used to talk about how many above 100. Now that's about how many days above 105. So we got a real good test on those things and to see what would happen if it wasn't grouted. Would we lose our performance? And because that seems to be a mixed discussion. Not everybody can agree what's going to happen, okay? So we're going to go ahead and measure that thing, and if you want to know what those results are or where we are at that time, you should talk to Dr. Beyer, and he can help you there. I mentioned the certification standards for installation personnel. Taking 2 minutes of your time, Jack. Okay, and that is a very important research project funded by the DOE, and we've got a really good team. Our priorities are a new administrative structure. Okay, not everybody gets younger every year, only me, but I went through that cycle once, and so we got to try to figure out how to get somebody there that can really romp and stomp on this thing. I want to be a statesman. Doesn't that sound easier? Okay, I just want to be a statesman. I don't necessarily want to come in and do all the things an administrator has to do sometimes, because I tend to be a little bit soft-hearted, and as a result of that, sometimes things get out of control, and that takes time to whip them back into shape. So we're looking at making the Ground Source Heat Pump Association, a center at OSU. Now, that's important what the title is, because sometimes you get breaks on returned overhead. If you're just a poor old faculty member, the dean sucks it off. If you have a center, you get some of that money turned back so that you can keep your program going. Then we're looking at the executive director. Our first shot at this thing looks like it will be a industry professional. May or may not be a faculty member. Probably better if he wasn't. She wasn't. Sorry, I almost missed that. So we're looking at that right now. We do have a new center going up that is being developed. It's a National Energy Solutions Institute. They talk about conservation and things like that. So we are trying to make progress to make something happen. We're also looking at the study of economic impact of ground source heat pumps. We want to see if we can figure out what we can tell electric utilities and other people of why this is so important. See, we have the GEO group does advocacy in the legislatures. Our group is supposed to do advocacy among homeowners, contractors, builders, and other agencies like that. Everybody should be selling. Everybody should be selling this technology. I say when you get on an airplane, you ought to have cards, pencils, and all that sort of stuff, and just leave them in the seat for other people to take a look at. Our other thing will be training and marketing. That's important. We tried that out. You know, it's hard sometimes to spend money on marketing, but whenever things aren't going like you'd like, well, then you take a shot at it. And so we've done real well. We've stimulated some new business when we get out and get on the airplane and go out to other parts of the country. So if you have any questions, ask somebody that knows the answer, okay? We have Sean Shu here this morning. Sean Shu is from China. He's been around with us a long time. He's 50 years old today, okay? That's what his wife told me last night. We have a couple of guys. We have a couple of our CGD people here from Australia. Are they in here or are they in class? Probably in class, okay? And so we've got a good mix. We're looking at forming a chapter in Canada, and that seems to be coming along. And so Jack, Henrik, just get up here and correct anything that I said that wasn't right, okay?